Today's episode is not just going to feature AEW Dark Elevation. We also got three promotions with their three events that we're going to talk about. The first one is Mission Pro Wrestling. It's run by none other than La Mera Mera herself, Thunder Rosa. The next one is by ICW No Holds Barred. It's a different type of promotion where they have a different style of wrestling involving extreme and death matches, but their event is called Pit Fighter. This took place on June 25th, and finally we got IWA Mid South, Who's Your Daddy, another promotion that is in fact does the whole death match, hardcore, extreme type of scenario. So this one also took place back in June on the 20th. So let's get ready to start with another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers matches, and championships. I'm your host, Jay, right here. So, let's begin with AEW Dark Elevation. The opening match was Red Velvet taking on Angelica Risk. Now, I don't know who she is, but as you all know, Red Velvet continues to impress many fans. I know some of you saying, "Oh, we're going to see her on Dynamite." Well, that depends because it's already been revealed by the commentators. She is, of course, number 5th in the rankings, so sooner or later she'll get a shot of the AEW Women's Title. But however, her finisher move, the last breath or whatever she calls it, was a really amazing move, and that's how she picked up the victory, giving her the W. Next match, we got Lee Johnson along with Dustin Rhodes taking on resident Dragon Ball Z Goku, better known as Marcus Cross. Now, this match proves more about Lee Johnson. He's now being prepared that this coming Wednesday on Dynamite's Homecoming, he's going to face Miro. So he did the best that he possibly could to win this match, and that's what he did. But however, in the post-match, Miro once again, believes that he is God's favorite champion, that he will prevail. And that's always been the same old thing with Miro, doing the same thing, thinking that God is by his side. Now, next up, our resident alien, Chris Statlander, had some things to say on her mind. We all know that she could be once in line for a title shot for the AEW Women's Title, and of course, she feels that, of course, all the members of Best Friends, that includes Orange Cassidy, Trent, Chuck, and possibly Yuta, they operate differently because they're a bit of the oddballs in like the oddball stable faction. But it kind of played out in its way. I mean, they are the oddballs, but they're the fan favorites. Now, before the start of the match, we just saw a surprise guest commentator, none other than David Crockett. Now, if you guys don't know who he is the son of Jim Crockett, who actually ran Jim Crockett's promotions. And of course, his brother is none other than Jim Crockett Jr., who recently passed away this year. But it's great to see David Crockett. There was a photo that Tony Schiavone posted on his Twitter page where you see him with David Crockett and, of course, good old JR together. So David Crockett, in the other hand, was a ring announcer for a long time until he retired in 1988. And it was great to see him. He did call up half the matches on, I think half? Well, a big portion of the matches, like the last four, and I think his input played pretty well on this one because he may have been out of the game, but I think he might have been following what's been going on in the wrestling scene. But the match he's called on is the first one is Chris Statlander versus Ashley DuBois. Now, we all know Chris Statlander. She is very athletic, very powerful, and of course, who could forget the boop? So it was good. The match was good. It was as you know, Chris Statlander has been returning better than ever since her return from the ring to the injury, and there's no doubt in our minds that she could be one day AEW Women's World Champion. It's only a matter of time till we get there. But she did pull off an amazing W when she put Ashley in a Big Bang Dinner, and it's over in this one. Next match we have the Factory, Aaron Solo and Nick Camarado. Well, QT Marshall, let's just call him Marshall because he doesn't deserve the name Marshall. He actually went to the commentary. They were taking on against Rosio Grillo and Hunter Knox. Knox, I would think. But you can guess in this match the Factory won because that's how they roll. They have Nick Camarado, who's a very big, powerful dude. Aaron Solo, a very quick wrestler, but that's how it rolls with the Factory winning the match, thanks to Nick Camarado. The next match we have, of course, Yuka Sakazaki taking on the mean girl herself, Danny Jordan. I have to say this match was fun. I'm a big Yuka Sakazaki fan. Just to remind everybody, she is now, from my understanding on Twitter, she's back in Japan. She was quarantined for quite a while, and she's doing great. So she might, if you guys want to catch her, you can go on. She's going to be in Tokyo Yoshi Pro, but she will not be part of the Princess Cup tournament. If you guys want to see some footage of her, go to watchprowrestling.com and you can see some of the Tokyo Yoshi Pro stuff that she's been involved in. But the match was great, and of course, she did not pull off the victory by doing the magical fly, whatever she does. She pulled off a good W and very fun one. That's what I like about Yuka Sakazaki. Now for our main event, we got Bear Bronson along with Bear Boulder taking on Sting, who's being accompanied by Sting. This match was amazing. Basically, you got a big dude, Bear Bronson, taking on the more resilient and fast-paced wrestler, Darby Allin. He was relentless in this match. I think it played out a good story. No matter how big the opponent Darby has to go through, he'll figure out a way, and he put 2 coffin drops onto Bear Bronson just for good measures, and he picked up a good W on this one. So it's only a matter of time until we see him move up the ranks in AEW. Okay, so we got Mission Pro Wrestling. This is Thunder Rosa's promotion. It's an all-female promotion. Now I'm going to give you a brief history about this promotion. This promotion was originally known as an intergender promotion in the past, but however, because of the events of what happened in the Speaking Out movement last year in June of 2020, Thunder Rosa approached her husband, who's also a promoter, letting her know what was going on. So her husband Brian made a decision to step down and give the reins to Thunder Rosa to see how this goes. And that's exactly what she did. She wanted to make this a good wrestling promotion for all women pro wrestling. You see, I always stated that Thunder Rosa is a true leader for the women, for all women in wrestling, and that's always been something I've always not claimed, but always see that in her. The amazing stories I hear about her, even when she's not in the ring, how she looked out for the other girls who go to the promotions that she and her husband used to ran. And I think that's what I liked about Mission Pro. I haven't seen never seen any of their matches or events that they have, but this one, if you guys want to know how I managed to see this one, you can see the ones on Title Network. It's only like maybe $7.99 or $9.99 a month, but this one showed up on WatchProWrestling.com, and I couldn't resist. So let's go from start to finish. The event is called Play Hard, Hustle Harder. This took place on the 31st of July. The opening match was a men's match. We have Robert Bain along with Caitlin Axley taking on JP Harlow. Now in the commentary section, Joe Galley from NWA was commentating on this one. He's good friends with Thunder Rosa. Um, he even trains at the Dog Pound Dojo with Jazz and her husband, along with Thunder Rosa there too. It was a pretty good match. However, JP Harlow has a very unique style. From what Joe Galley mentioned, he kind of used a bit of the grappling or jiu-jitsu style, kind of like Royce Gracie, how people doubted him because of his height and weight, because he was small. But however, because he did not get the W because of the interference by Caitlin Alexis and allowing for Robert Bain to win the match. Now, next match was Danny Moe taking on Kenzie Page. Now, if you guys have been following NWA, Kenzie Page has been, of course, appearing on NWA, and she take on Danny Moe. However, the match was good. It was, excuse me, it was good. Danny Moe picked up the W on this one. I didn't know much about her. I seen her name before on other promotions. Don't recall where, but I'm going to remember that sooner or later. Now, this next match is a tag team match. We got Dulce Tormenta teaming with Maddie Rakowski, who we all see on AEW, either on Dark or Elevation, taking on the Renegade Twins. You may know them also in AEW. We got Charlotte and Robin Renegade. So they're part of that. They even, according to this, I did not know that they were part of a faction with two other people. But however, this match was so good because, according to what the commentators were saying, um, Dulce Tormenta busted in all things to the twins, and the twins were disregarding the rules by the ref, so the ref had no other choice but to call this a double countout. However, the twins were not satisfied how this ended, but they refused to play by the rules, and that's what happened. But it was a good match to watch. The next match I like to call it the Battle of the Skies. We got Zoe Sky taking on Sky Blue. I have to say, match was good as well because it kind of tells who is the true Sky. And to me, I feel it's always been Sky Blue because I have been paying attention to her a lot when I seen her in other promotions. Like I seen her in NWA. She even is part of Nick Aldis' team, even though she lost her match. But it was a good match and I enjoyed it, and it was Sky Blue that picked up the W on this one. I was like, okay, so she's the winner of the Battle of the Sky. Now, they took a 15-minute break, but this next match, these two ladies, I don't know who they are. It's Gigi Ray versus Lady Bird Monroe. I'll just give you the short version. Gigi Ray won because I don't know who she is, because I'm like, these two ladies, I'm unfamiliarized with her. These are like the unknown types. But it's okay. I'm not going to complain about it. Next match, we got Thunder Rosa taking on Jenna Kai, who I mentioned previously in an event by Unsanctioned Pro, but it was an amazing match. Thunder Rosa, who we all know she has an MMA background. Jenna Kai, she looks more like someone who studied Muay Thai, and I think this match was perfect, and I was like thinking this is gonna end in Thunder Rosa's favor, because it's more like whenever you look at Thunder Rosa, she's challenging the much tougher competitors. This is one of them, and of course that's what she did. She put Jenna Kay away. However, in her promo, she announced that she was officially signed with AEW. So basically, she is still gonna run Mission Pro because Tony Khan is a very, very generous guy who will allow her to do this. And that's how it works. So it was a good match. I give this one a double thumbs up. Now the next match is a triple threat match for the MPW, the Mission Pro Wrestling title for the number one contendership. We got Jasmine Allure along with Ava Wild, who's being accompanied also by the twins, the Renegade Twins, but the ref kicked them out because they were going to cause a problem. And the other opponents, is Genocide and Vert Vixen. Now, Vert Vixen and Genocide used to be friends, and now they're bitter enemies, fighting back and forth. the match kind of like focused on that, but however, the other factor was Ava Wild, who played a good role to ensure, even if Jasmine Laura was out for the count, she has to make sure that the other two women did not win it one way or the other. And that's exactly a good strategy to be played in the storyline. And that's what happened. Jasmine Laura picked up the victory by pinning Genocide, so that means she gets a shot of the APW title. And now, speaking of the MPW title, we have that as the main event. We have Holodead taking on La Rosa Negra, who is the current champion for the Mission Pro Wrestling title. It was a good match, even though the majority of the fans were on the side of La Rosa Negra. Awesome match. I said like this one, and Thunder Rosa, I give it a 2 thumbs up, and that's how I like it. And of course, La Rosa Negra won by man. She put her through the test, but however, she was being invaded by none other than #1 contender Jasmine Allure, Ava Wild, and the twins. However, she got back up by Dulce and Tormenta and Maddie Rakowski. So basically, Jasmine Allure is sending her a direct message saying she's coming for her title one way or the other. So the message is received, but don't know when will that match will take place. I will continue to follow on this one as much as possible. Okay, so right now we got, of course, another promotion I'm going to review. This one is from ICW No Holds Bars. Now, you probably guess, is this Insane Championship Wrestling? No, this is ICW No Holds Bars. This is kind of like another promotion involving itself in death matches, hardcore matches, and extreme matches. Their event is called Pit Fighter X7. This took place on the 25th of June, last 2 months ago. But it was a pretty good event. So let's go from start to finish. This basically is more they use an MMA ring, which is a circle, not the octagon, not to be confused with with UFC. It's kind of like what Bellator used, but it was a good match. They even use toys inside, basically more like uh, wooded pallets, anything that would help them. The first match is Schlock taking on um, Dan Math. This was a battle of the giants. They even used the door as their weapon in order to win this. I'm like, wow, it's so insane. I have to say, I never heard of this promotion, but I have to say, I'm glad I am able to see it because it's completely different from any other promotion I've ever witnessed. But Schlock picked up a really good victory on this one. I would have assumed that Math did, but Schlock seems like the most likely because he's the more recognizable wrestler since he was mostly been involved with GCW. But that's how I see it. This next match we have um, Alan Edward taking on Alex Ocean. It's another good match. I have to say, seeing Nolan Edward, he really is an amazing wrestler. I think I never would imagine him taking this whole hardcore extreme death match scene seriously, but he pulled it off when he did a double stomp on Alex in between two tables. That was good. I give him praises on that particular match. So he won awesomely. Next match we got Phil Baroni and Justin Kyle. This is more like a super fight, kind of like MMA, but at some point, Phil Baroni took out his gloves and Justin Kyle took off his face mask. I was so impressed with this match. However, the match ended in referee's decision where Justin Kyle already put out Phil Baroni out of his misery, and that kind of ended in a good way. I have to say it was a good match, kind of like a bit of the MMA style that maybe Penny fans would have wanted. Next match, we got Dale Patrick taking on Casanova Valentine. Now, Casanova Valentine, there was a moment he took off Dale's shoes and used a cheese grinder. You know those things that you use, that use the cheese. He did that on his foot, and of course, the match ended on referee's decision because Casanova was brutalizing Dale Patrick one way or the other. This next match is a women's match. We have the debut of Kimberly taking on La Reina Extrema Sadica. It was a really interesting match. I enjoyed it. It was so good. However, the match ended in a no contest, all because it appears someone has a grudge against Sadiska, and that person is John Wayne Murdoch. So basically, this is now becoming a feud of the battle of which nation is the most dangerous in the hardcore death scene or extreme scene. That's how I see it. Next match, we got Satu Jin taking on Jeff Cannonball. Earlier in the match, it opened up where they decided to do a little sumo action. I thought it was a little fun, and I think it was fun. However, Jeff Cannonball, amid his defeat, however, he brought in his signature sodas, orange soda, and they kind of shared a moment. And of course, Satu Jin goes, "It's not that bad." So he enjoyed the drinks. But they say you can find it on his cartel website or whatever they have. Is the guy's name is Jeff Cannonball if you're interested, but he sells those online. Next match we got Reed Bentley taking on the Samurai Death wrestler Akira. Another good classic match. I think many fans would expected Akira to win, but however Akira did the best that he could, but Reed Bentley did excuse me, did an amazing job in this match. I would not expect him to win because to me, I look at Akira as one of the fan favorites, but Bent Reed got his credit where it's due on this one. The main event, we got John Wayne Murdoch taking on Tank. Another classic match. This match went everywhere. Basically, Tank now got to see the real John Wayne Murdoch, that he is the most toughest SOB in the wrestling business. And of course, he won the match when referee called it by decision. However, he is still waiting for one person, and the person that he cost the match, Sadiska. I don't know when will that take place, but I'm kind of curious to find out what's going to happen from then on. So John Wayne Murdoch, let's see what happens if, what's her name, Sadiska takes the challenge. And I'll be waiting for that too. Okay, the last thing I'm going to review is IWA Mid South. Who's Your Daddy? This is one of those promotions that involve death matches. Opening match was a nine-way scramble match. Now, I'm going to tell you who were participating, and these are names I'm not familiarized with. Blake Steele, Noah Hossman, Chico Suave, Nick Ing, Billy Tipson, Jace Carr, Corey Storm, Jack Griffin, and Papano Joe. I have to say, I could barely keep up in this match because I have seen 5-way scramble. I've seen 6-way, but a 9-way, that is something I would not picture. But however, the match ended in Corey Storm's favor, and I'm like, wow, it was a good match because I was like going everywhere trying to figure out how this is going to end. But I glad that I didn't figure it out because anything could happen in scramble matches. Next up, we got the IWA Women's title. We got Lilith Grimm versus Thunder Kitty versus Jody Threat versus Jessie Bell Smoothers. Now, basically, the champion had her second by her side, but you can guess on this particular match she retained the title because basically everybody wants that title to be removed from her waist and be at one of these three competitors' shoulders. So it's or waist, however it's gonna go. But what's her name? Jessie Bell actually won the match. Sorry guys, I'm a little tired. Next match, we got 440 leader Ricky Shane Page taking on Kevin Giza. This was another good match because Ricky Shane Page is one of those dickhead wrestlers, that is determined to win at any cost. And frankly, somehow Kevin Giza was able to pick up the victory and making sure that RSP does not win this one one way or the other. Excuse me. Next match is a thumbtacks, carpet strips, and guzet pallet death match. We got another member of the 440, Eric Ryan, taking on Satu Jin. Match was great as well, but however, the match ended by ref's decision when Eric Ryan was stomping on the head of Satu Jin, and that kind of played out in a good matter where it shows 440 are making headways and they're not afraid to go take their limits. Next match we got is the Barbed Wire Madness Four Corner of Pain Death Match. We got John Wayne Murdoch taking on Dale Patrick. Another classic match. I have to say, I would not expect a whole lot, but of course, from my understanding, John Wayne Murdoch is one of those wrestlers that takes it up a different level, and I have to say, it's a good thing. Excuse me, but I think it was good. John Wayne Murdoch picked up an amazing victory on this one. Next match, we got a tag team match. We got Unsigned and Don't Care, Aaron Williams and Gary Che taking on Iron Beast, Shane Mercer, and KTB. I have to say, another classic match because Iron Beasts are a beast. You know, the way they operate kind of fits in. But I did not see this one coming with a major upset that they were going to beat them, and that's what happened. Then next match we got Zodiac versus Flash Hannigan, another classic match. I have to say, I don't know who these guys are, but apparently Zodiac had his second Airy getting involved, but apparently Airy's head got into the groin of Zodiac, costing him the match. So I have to say, well, that's what happens when you have seconds. Next match is a hardcore match. We have Jake Chris taking on I'm Super and I'm Crazy. Super Crazy, yes, folks, Super Crazy is involved in this match. Great classic hardcore match, but however, Corey Storm butted into his business where it doesn't belong, costing Super Crazy the match. So, do we see a sign of retaliation with Corey? I don't know. I don't know, but however, I have to say we're gonna see what's gonna happen. And finally, the main event was the IWA World Title between Logan James and Tyler Matrix, who is the current champion. Awesome match, but however, it ended with a double pinfall. I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Do we gonna see another rematch? Which something I assume people would do, but we'll see what happens because if there's any more IWA, then you guys will get more reviews from this promotion. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Right now, for the next one, we got NWA Power, AEW Dark, and NXT, and I'll throw in another unknown promotion. This one is called Pro Wrestling at the Dark, or PWAD, with their latest event called Cannabis Cup. Now, don't ask me if it's about weed. I don't know. This is going to be my first time watching it, but you guys will get something special, and that's the reason Deleted WrestleZone exists. There are promotions that you don't even know about, but maybe one day you'll be curious. From whatever region you guys are from, you may see it. And that's what I like to do in this channel. Give out reviews from promotions you may or may not have heard of. And that's what I like. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel, I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, mwah, and have a nice day. Bang!